Joining us now on the Technology Innovation stage, Shannon MacKay and Brian Mignault.
All right, hey guys, it's great to see everybody live and in person. It's amazing to be here. I know it's a little warm. I'm from Texas, so I can't complain. This isn't that far different from home. My husband said it was going to be 105 today, so I guess it's a dry heat, right? And Brian, you're from Raleigh, so...
I am from Raleigh. They do tell me it's a dry heat out here, out west, but so is my oven, so it's rather warm.
Yeah, but we're thrilled to be here today and talk about Lenovo's smart collaboration offering. It's no doubt that the workplace is changing, and COVID did everyone, you can argue, pros and cons of a disservice of this, but the way we work and how we work is very different, and so we want to talk to you today about how we see that transforming and the products that we have that fit in that space. All right, so let's talk about it. So, Brian, you've been with Lenovo for 16 years. You've seen a lot of change. We're known as a great PC maker. So tell us more about Lenovo.
So I get this question often about why Lenovo, and usually I ask the individual a question back, as I say, what pops into your mind when you think about Lenovo? And a lot of times the answers that I get back are quality, reliability, manageability, security, supplemental services, dedicated sales teams, and a global supply chain that is best in class. And I don't think that's something that we can overlook at the moment, particularly in the environment that we're all operating within today. What's more important than product availability? And when you look at Lenovo being the #1 compute manufacturer in the world, there's size and scale there that we use to our advantage. We also own and operate the majority of our own manufacturing facilities, which presents an opportunity for flexibility.
Yep, sounds great. All right, so like I said before, the world has changed, and as this slide sort of builds out, I know, show of hands, how many of you get dressed thinking about what are you going to wear from the waist up? I'm famous for that. It's been an interesting time, and it's awkward, but you know, putting on pants and heels, and I'm out of practice with my heels. You'll see me in flats in about 30 minutes, but the reality is that we haven't had to deal with that. And collaboration is key for us to innovate and do things. And you can only go so far without great technology. And we know that in this space, being in person and getting back to the way it's been is key. But we've had the benefit of being flexible and being to work from home. So Brian, I know you've had your own challenges besides me not getting dressed every day.
Are you talking about my children?
Well,
because I do have challenges with them in the home office. But I think this is a great slide that highlights why we are where we are right now, right? That first picture of traffic is actually Raleigh on a commute home, which usually took me about 45 minutes to an hour when I was in the office every single day. Now, when I'm not in that commute, I've committed that time to Peloton, which has been a great thing for my health. The conference room itself, I love that picture there. You got the mahogany table. That's your lawyer's office, right? You got the pleather chair, the big furniture. Who wants that when you can have the hip huddle space? That's what we want to talk about moving forward. Who's eating better? I'm eating better, right, with this hybrid model that we're working within right now. You got the fresh salad that you make out of, the ingredients from your own refrigerator versus the sad, sorry lettuce that's been sitting out for 2 hours in the cafeteria. Dry cleaning, I was spending $100 a month on dry cleaning. Now I've got the fresh button down in the Lululemon shorts right there, right? So it's worked out.
That's right. I don't even put makeup on half the time, which is kind of crazy.
There you go.
And with the gas prices, not driving to work every day, key, right? So the interesting part is employees are now demanding some sort of flexibility. And so for us to entice them back into the office, things have to change, and we have to have better technology to do that. All right, so let's talk about reinventing the workplace. Many of you have experienced sort of hot desking and more adoption of open collaboration spaces, but we also had a lot of large conference rooms, and all of us start from different form factors and different footprints. So if you think about not everyone being in the office every day, the reason to have a 40-room conference people or a 30-room conference room are kind of slim now. Not everyone will be in there. There'll be exceptions, but a lot of folks are now thinking about how do I repurpose space and use it in different ways. And it used to be if you had a small huddle room, you might pick up your PC, head into a room, and use your camera that's on your PC. But now with the COVID and the emphasis on better audio, better video, we're now seeing the need for new huddle spaces and smaller collaboration spaces in smaller groups. And the days of wanting to entice our people back to the office aren't just going to happen with free food and beer on Fridays. So we've got to have better technology to do that. So that's how I look at it. There's a nice blend. How do you see it? Lenovo's gone through a transformation.
We have gone through this ourselves, and some of your organizations have probably gone through this as well. So think back, 2016, 2017 type time frame, right? I joke, I say most organizations, senior leadership had their Ronald Reagan moment. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these cubicle walls, right? But fast forward to 2021 and 2022, people start showing up in the office again, and they enter and they look around and they say, this is no good. This is no good, right, for collaboration. And to your point, I don't think Pilsners and ping pong get people back into the office any longer, right? So it's got to be, the office has to work, and we are reimagining that right now and reinventing the way work works. The other piece is I equate this to, I always bring it back to sports, you know this, right? But I equate it to stadiums. Remember when the English Premier League brought fans back into their stadiums, or the NFL brought fans back into their stadiums? It's stadiums that sat 75,000 people. They let 7,500 in. There's no energy, there's no vibe in that environment. Nobody wants to be there. And that's the way I look at offices right now. We've got to bring energy back, we've got to bring a vibe back, and some of that starts with technology.
For sure. And I think the other thing is that a lot of people expect their technology experience to be equal or better than what they have at home. We have smart TVs, we have the Alexas, we have the Googles, we have all this technology that now makes it very easy to create smart homes. So when I come to the office, I don't want to have a tabletop tent telling me how to make my conference room work and spend 5 minutes starting to do that. Or a laminated sheet that's zip tied to the cable, right? Or it's missing and you spend 5 minutes fumbling through that. If we don't have consistent environments for our employees to use, again, it's not a great experience, and they'd rather stay home and do their conference call.
You got it.
All right, let's keep moving. All right, so we talk about hybrid collaboration and what that means for Lenovo. We look at it in 3 ways. One is that it's ubiquitous, and that simply means, you can go Google it, what the word means, but it means that it must work from everywhere, regardless of where you are. You might be at a coffee shop, you might be traveling in a cabin with your family, you might be in the office, or you might actually just be working from your standard home office. But it needs to be an experience that works. Secondly, it needs to be equitable, and that means that it works for all, but everybody feels included. What's interesting now today is we forget, even when we go into the office, that there's still 1 or 2 people who might be working remote. So how do they see what we're drawing on the whiteboard? How do they see us in the camera? The days of the dining room, conference room are sort of gone. If you aren't taking a U-shaped space and having a 360 camera or something that really captures the room and who's talking at that time, that person who's working from home still isn't getting a great experience, and they're going to be hesitant to fully engage and be transparent. And lastly, it needs to be seamless. I joked about the table tents and the directions. If it's complicated, people won't use it. If it doesn't work and you fumble through it, they're not going to go to that room next time. They're going to find something else. Or they're going to BYOD their meeting and just take it into a smaller huddle room and still not take advantage of the fact that they're in the office and be sitting across the table with 2 or 3 people. They'll just take it at their hotspot. So that's how I look at it. But that's also a lot of marketing mumbo jumbo, right? So I am the general manager. I run the portfolio. Brian is our sales leader. So why don't you put it in customer perspective?
So ubiquitous, I'll own it. I looked it up. But again, work from anywhere. It has to work. And I've got a personal example of that where the VRBO story that I was mentioning to you on the side is last summer when we started to travel a little bit again, felt more comfortable getting out there in public. We had a VRBO that my wife booked, and in the VRBO descriptions, it had WFA employees, work from anywhere employees. Like, they know the acronym, there's got to be a spot for me, right? Ends up being a coat closet with an elementary school desk sitting inside of it. But with my virtual background, I was able to pull it off and nobody knew, right? So it worked out. Equitable, you're spot on. It's about, you can't have 2 classes of citizens. Those that are in and those that are out. It's got to be able to function appropriately for those that are participating in the room, and those that are outside of the room have to be an active participant, not a passive one. And then the seamless piece, I can't say it any better than Louis Berlanga says it, is that if Sally from HR or Steve from accounting walks into that room, you got a 1-button push out to your meeting, and it just has to work, full stop.
Right, it's got to be easy. All right, well, let's keep going. All right, so again, we've talked a lot about Lenovo in general. We've been in this space now from a hybrid collaboration, smart collaboration space for about 3 years. So you've been here from the early days. So tell now, why Lenovo, right? We might not be a name brand yet. People don't know, I didn't know Lenovo did that, right? So give us your perspective on where that journey's come.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to move into the role back in the fall of 2019, and at that time, we were just kind of finding our footing here in the space and trying to figure it out. But I think we recognized at Lenovo that core compute was going to be a bigger component and a critical component to the conference room. And based on our industry-leading solutions in that core compute space, we knew we had an opportunity to be successful within the conference room. I think it goes back to quality, reliability, and manageability. And I want to stop on manageability just for a second. Because yes, I do believe we have best-in-class solutions, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But it's about remote diagnostics, it's managing the room remotely, it's being able to deploy a room remotely. So our ThinkSmart Manager software is something that I believe is a differentiator for us, and ultimately what we're hearing from customers that it is enriching their experience with ThinkSmart as they deploy. So all of those reasons combined, and I will talk about the portfolio in a minute, but we've got more to do.
Yep, all right. So one of the things that you've heard a lot about is device as a service. We also look at collaboration as a service. About a year ago, Lenovo launched what we call TrueScale, and that means that we have a brand that allows us to market and promote anything as a service. And we feel like collaboration as a service, meaning we can come and help you with hardware, software, and a total solution around services and professional installation to really help you design and create a space that works for you. This is an interesting time, and not everyone has the same real estate. One of you may be working with a conference room in a footprint of 10,000 feet. The other one may be 100,000 feet. How do you repurpose that? So one size shoe fits all. There's not one design room standard that's going to work. And changing the technology in each of these rooms, even if you stagger it over time, is a very expensive proposition. So we know that. And so this allows us to shift some of the costs to CapEx to OpEx. It's no different than many of you who buy a cell phone today and you pay a premium per month until you've expired your usage of what that phone costs. It's the same concept. So you can buy in, we manage and maintain those conference rooms for you when it's time to refresh, or if you need updating, whether it's new camera technology as AI continues to advance, that can be part of your package, and you can pay a monthly fee, a quarterly fee, an annual fee. It's flexible, but again, we understand where we are, and for us to, again, entice our employees back to the office, it's going to take significant investment, and we know that that's a stretch on budgets. And so we do believe that this is going to be another differentiator for Lenovo, where we can offer some flexibility and help kind of alleviate that pain point. Anything you want to add?
No, that's.
Right.
I just think that I say no and then I add. I think that is the way forward. I really do. I think that's a tremendous opportunity for us, even with partners, to make that a success for our customer set.
All right, so let's get into the portfolio. So this slide looks a lot different than 3 years ago. So we made some progress, but let's set some perspective.
We did make some progress here. And before we dive into the portfolio, I learned this firsthand at Lenovo, is that video is cultural in a lot of ways, right, within organizations, and it wasn't a part of our culture at Lenovo. I'll give you an example. I moved into the role in November of 2019. My first meeting is with our healthcare sales organization. There's 65 sellers or so that are part of that healthcare sales team. I'm now leading video collaboration at for North America. I figured I should probably put my camera on. I kid you not, I got pinged 6 times in 6 seconds that says, "Heads up, we can see you, your camera's on." I said, "I know, could you please put yours on," right? But this thing, when we started in 2019, we had one solution and one solution only. It was the ThinkSmart Hub 500. Decent device, did what it was designed to do, but I did have a customer tell me, "Hey, Lenovo, I know you guys. You have the ThinkSmart Hub 500. You guys are the one-trick pony, and oh, by the way, your pony doesn't even have that good of a trick." Okay, fair enough. Give me some time, right? We're going to build this thing out. And credit to you and your team, specifically while we have been living through a global pandemic. There was a lot of white space on this slide previously, but now, instead of a one-trick pony, I think you guys have a stable full of studs ready to go run and win in the conference room.
Well, I appreciate that. So let's kind of start at the start. So you talked about ThinkSmart Manager, and that's kind of a staple for all of our products. But one of the things that we talked about is that we know we have small, medium, large, extra large rooms to address. And so a lot of these products are modular and work well together. So we have our ThinkSmart Core Kit. It comes in various sizes, again, to be adaptable for the size and space that you need. We have have our ThinkSmart Core and Controller and Compute. We do power a lot of the compute that you see from Logi and Poly. In fact, we are the #1 compute provider from a Windows perspective when you think about just the overall collaboration space. So we do compute well, and we see a lot of our partners and our frenemies, if you will, even lean into that. But we also have the ThinkSmart Hub. It's the Gen 2 of what you referred to, and that's kind of a center of a room console that allows you to interact and work the room from one central location. And then we have some accessories, which is the ThinkSmart Cam and Bar, and then we also offer the Google Series Meet. One of the things you'll notice is we're trying to be quite agnostic. We want to support Teams, Zoom, and Google so that you have flexibility in what you offer. And again, in the past, we haven't had all that luxury and flexibility. And again, we'll scale up from extra small to small, medium, and large rooms. And that's how we look at it. And again, there's different configurations. We have a lot of installation services and our specialists who can help you really map out and design solutions that fit your budget, but also give you the best room experience. If you think about how rooms are laid out, if you're dealing with a lot of windows and sun glare, the position of the camera and how you look at that and what type of camera you use, those are little nuances that we hadn't really thought about in the past because video wasn't a primary thing. And now we're trying to future-proof our products and put in more compute power and other things to be able to support the AI integration of better technology and future-proof some of these things so that as new software features not come out just from Microsoft and Zoom, but also our camera providers and others, that we can take advantage of all those features because it does take power and compute to be able to take advantage of some of that software. So that's kind of our journey of where we've been. But we have something new and exciting to unveil today. And that is our ThinkSmart One. So Brian's going to be my Vanna.
Here we go.
So the ThinkSmart One is a new all-in-one bar. We have not had an all-in-one bar, but the key differentiator, you might say, well, that's great. There's a lot of all-in-one bars out there today. They're Android. This is a Windows-based bar. This is a mock-up. Unfortunately, it's not a working sample. We'll have it in our booth after this so you can actually come touch and feel the product. But it has everything all built in. So it's an all-in-one, literally with compute, the best audio, the best visual. It has 8 mic arrays, 15-watt speakers. It uses the Windows IT offering for Windows 10. And you get the luxury of some of the complications you don't have to deal with from an Android perspective, and you got a lot of the full functionality that our customers are used to when you think about our compute and other devices we already have in their portfolio today. It has an HDMI port, so you can plug in a laptop directly if you want to use it in a small huddle space. And lastly, it has a PoE connector as well. And that may help with some of the installation costs. And it works with our ThinkSmart controller that I just talked to you about on the prior slide. So it will be bundled with that if you need a controller to operate the room. So we're really excited. It mounts on the wall with a very simple bracket, so you can make it easy to adjust, again, based on lighting, room configuration. You've got some options, or you can leave it on a credenza or sit it on the table, so you've got some options there. But it's a really simple mount. Tilts forward, makes cable management super easy. You can lock it down and keep it secure. But anyway, we're super excited, and I think, again, it's just another addition to our portfolio that gives us some differentiation that we haven't had in our space. Any thoughts?
I just think ultimately there's a lot of organizations out there right now that are looking for that easy button, right? They've had a couple of years to figure out, hey, what's this back to office hybrid work model going to look like? A lot of folks didn't execute over the last couple of years, and now they need a solution. Not that we can't solve it with the portfolio that we have today, but I think ThinkSmart One gives us an opportunity to be a bit of that easy button.
Right. Yep. So it's exciting times. So we didn't set time for Q&A today, but Brian and I will be back over at our booth. So if you have any specific questions, I see Luis is in the, raise your hand. There you go, Luis. And Kyle's in the crowd as well. We've got a lot of experts. Aaron's in the back. I haven't seen Tanya, but we have plenty of people. There he is. Tanya actually launched the product. Stand up, Tanya. This is your baby.
All right. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah. All right, I got to record my team. It's good, hard effort right here. It takes a village, but Tanya's been driving the bus. So these are all exciting days when you get to unveil this. It will ship later this year. The starting at price point is $25.99 from a U.S. dollars perspective. And again, keep in mind this is an all-in device complete package, so you get the full bang. That includes the controller. And so we're super excited. It will launch later this year. So this is the unveiling, but again, we'll have more to come.
And I think they mentioned that they were collecting some questions on an iPad, but since we're not contractually allowed to touch an iPad, particularly on stage, just come over to the booth and we'd be happy to answer questions. But we appreciate the opportunity, and we hope you guys have a fantastic show. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Should probably take